Now that we've kind of had a little bit of a break to digest the end of the regular, or well, not the regular season, end of the season,
How was your
How are we
how
feeling a week later?
like everything is digested well?
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly,
Um,
I did not expect to go that far in the playoffs once we got in. So getting the games that we got was kind of a bonus for me.
yeah, I think TC really worded it well in last episode that, if game six was the end, I think it was, the fact that they showed the fight that they did in games four and five really, it meant a lot of the fans, I think,
I think so too.
and stuff too. So it's like obviously getting swept, I think it would have left kind of like an empty feeling for
Yes,
sure.
because
But
we felt like all year long this team was better than they were showing, and that would have
well, and I
left
think
it.
that they really showed the fight that they had left,
They did.
and fact of the matter is they just ran out of gas in game six up in PG. A great start,
Hmm.
but once again you're taking penalties and putting that power play for Prince George a man up, and it's never going to end well.
No, the
And
bad things show themselves again. Yes,
yeah, for sure. But overall, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it again. I'm just gonna say it was a mid-season. I mean, it was definitely below expectations in my
hmm
eyes, anyways. I was actually a little bit ago comparing the individual stats of players from last year to this, or from the previous year to this past year,
hmm
and it's insane the difference in scoring that we
really
had. I mean, we had Berkeley Catlin two
right,
years ago, 113 points, and then you had Shea Van Olm, Andrew Crystal, all top three, with 100, nearly 100 points, all three of them.
right.
And this year, the highest guy we had 57 points with Chase Harrington. So it's just like it's a huge drop off in that regard. And I expected, Chase Harrington to put up 80, 90 points this year.
Right.
And, Owen Martin too, and guys like that. Obviously, things weren't, they took them a little bit to get going this year, and they really turned it on in the second half. And I think if they would have had that mojo at the start of the season, that they could have gotten to that milestone, but it didn't play out that way. So, nonetheless, though, I mean, I really think that the second half of the season was a success,
They kind of found
and
their identity a little bit in the second half for
they
sure.
definitely did. The later the season went on, they did, and then obviously the first three games of the playoffs, I again could have gone either way. It
Hmm.
very well could be the Chiefs playing Penticton right now.
I agree.
But it is what it is, and Prince George is still trucking along here.
They are. They've been a
Um,
surprise to me. I have to give them more credit for being better than I thought they maybe were.
yeah, for sure. I still think that if they get past Penticton, then they're going to run into roadblock at Everett.
Right.
But
I think
um,
anybody would right now.
well, let's just face it. I mean, Everett's got that reputation of choking in the playoffs and everything too. They've been so good for so long. I don't think anybody's stopping them this year. And I
I
think
don't either.
if anybody does stop them, it's going to be in the finals against PA or Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
But I find it hard to believe that anybody's going to be able to knock Everett out this year.
I watched their game the other night. They looked so good. The game
Oh,
where it was a good game, but they're so good.
no, they look, yeah, I don't know what it is about their team this year because I mean obviously they were projected to be good again this season and everything too, but I don't think anybody really expected them to be as good as they are.
No.
I want to say they had single digit losses all year in
I think it was
regulation,
like
which is
nine,
I think
nine,
they had nine.
nine. Yeah.
So just an incredible season for Everett, and quite honestly, I'm pulling for him the rest of the way
Me
because
too.
I either them or Penticton. I mean, I think Penticton surprised a lot of people too,
They
and they're still
surprised
trucking
me.
along right now. But they're gonna have to pick up a couple of wins up in Prince George in the next couple of days. It's gonna be tough.
Got my fingers crossed for them.
No
Because let's
kidding.
face it, the main reason I don't like Prince George is their fan base.
Oh, absolutely. It's the same thing for me with Portland.
Exactly.
I get it. Yeah.
They
And
became the new Portland for me as well.
yeah, and it's just what I've been saying to everybody. It's you can tell they haven't won anything before because they're just cocky and everything too,
And dumb.
and stupid. Yeah,
Yeah.
fact of the matter. I mean, but hopefully the Penticton can make the series
I
interesting
hope
up in
so.
Prince George and um go all the way. But yeah, who knows? But
Yeah,
nonetheless, the Chiefs are done now, and I know you have a few things written down that you wanted to talk about.
I do. You want to talk about them now or
Let's talk about them.
okay. I have a list of pleasant surprises from the team this year.
Yeah, let's hear
Um,
yours.
I got the Brody Gillespie's growth. I feel like he
Hmm.
grown a lot this last year.
I
The
completely agree.
the last month of the season, he was really, really good. You
I
would not
agree.
know he's as young as he is.
Hmm.
He looked like a veteran on the team a little bit to me. Um, Samuel Rimba coming from a guy that was at one point for a lot of the year was the only 20-year-old we had.
Yeah,
I feel like he brought the other 20-year-olds once we got a couple of them. I feel like he brought them along with him. I feel like he had a fitting. He scored the last goal of the year for us, and that last playoff game.
yeah,
I feel like he earned that. He was very steady, so that was a pleasant thing to see. Let's see what else. Goaltending overall. Our
yeah. I
goaltending.
mean,
I can't say
facts.
anything bad about our goaltending this year.
Not at all.
We
Um,
we wouldn't have won over 50% of our games without those guys.
Yeah, for sure. And we yeah, a little bit later in this episode, we have a another 40-minute interview or so with Mike Boyle talking about, kind of the playoff series and his thoughts on the season and everything going forward too. We talked about that a lot with him with the
We
goaltending,
did.
how a lot of people were thinking going into the year that the goaltending was going to be the questionable part of this team, and it turned out to be like the really big strong suit that we had all season.
It was. And didn't I just see something yesterday or today where Esler was named as a
Yeah, he's
candidate?
with U18 for the World Junior U18s.
Right. Right.
for
Good
Canada
for
this
him.
year. So that's awesome. And I
And
think that's just the first step for him too.
it's easy to forget how young he really is.
Yeah. Well, with the way that he played this year, especially.
Yeah.
And
Just
like I just said, I think that's going to be a first step for him. I think he's going to be,
it's going to make him so
a
much better next year.
100%.
Yeah.
And I can see him potentially being the U20 Canada goaltender as well somewhere down the road here.
Somewhere down the
And
road, me as well.
if he continues on the trajectory that he's on right now. So, yeah, I agree. I think for me, biggest surprises, positively.
Yeah, I have positives on here.
Goaltending, no doubt about it. I mean, I think Carter Essler blew everybody's expectations out of the water this year, and let's not discredit Viard either. I mean, he came in and never played North American hockey before, and it
True.
took him a little bit to settle in. But once he settled in, he really dialed himself in, and I think he did really well for himself.
Yeah, he adapted very well once he got the opportunity to do so. I
Yeah, I think
agree.
so.
I agree.
And he played in World Juniors the last couple of years too, and
Yep.
I think it's some good experience for him, no doubt about it. And he did very well with by himself.
Another pleasant surprise I've written down here, not to backtrack, but I'm going to while I'm thinking about it, was how we got better without Mathis Preston. Everybody in the fan base,
Yeah.
and I even did think us to a certain degree at the beginning of the season, once we knew we were going to lose him, we're a little bit like, oh, now where's our offense going to come from? I actually feel like that got better without him.
Well, it
Part part
did.
partly in the trades we made and the movements we made, but also giving other guys a chance to bring their game up and show their potential too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation with Preston, right? So like obviously he didn't want to be here
No,
and
he
it
did
was
not.
pretty obvious based on the way that he was playing on the ice and
And the things we had heard,
he's a young kid,
he
you
is.
can't fault him
No.
completely 100%. It's hard to regulate your emotions. We talked about this a lot with Boiler too. The kids this age, it's like it's really hard to kind of regulate your emotions. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I remember going through that when I was 16, 17, 18 too.
Puberty.
Yeah, exactly. And Sometimes it's just not somewhere you want to be, and it is what it is. And I think not to dog on him too much, but I think that that kind of a mindset that he was playing on the ice with kind of brought everybody down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like once that trade was made and they got Sparks and Howell back, I think that everybody really kind of gelled and started,
Everybody
pushing,
relaxed.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
pushing each other a little bit more too. And I think
Yeah.
that's when Harrington and Martin really kind of woke up for me
Big
too.
time. Big
So
time.
Georgia, can you stop, please? I'm sorry. Uh, but yeah, no, I
And the
mean,
other, uh,
go for it.
go ahead.
No, I don't
T-
have it. You're good.
tied to that was I was impressed and surprised by how the team came together with no captain for the first after the first third of the year too. They all just kind of did it by committee. I feel like
Yeah, it kind of was like that. I don't really think that there was necessarily. I think that the front office was really holding on to hope that we were going to get Catton back
I think so
for
too.
quite a while. I would say up until the World Juniors, they were really kind of banking on that, and I think they would have named a captain a lot sooner if they had known that Catton was going to stay in the NHL.
Right.
But obviously, they had to be sure because they didn't want another situation like they had with Jared Cowan, Tyler Johnson
Right.
in 2010. So obviously, I think it was good that they waited just to be sure. But again, I feel like once McIsaac was named captain, it really kind of boosted his confidence a lot
It
too.
did. His
And
game changed.
and he started to play a lot more consistent.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he's definitely got that leadership quality he was the right pick to put the C on.
Very much so.
And now, I'm pretty sure I'll double check this right now, but I'm pretty sure he is committed to a college
I thought I
for
saw that
next
too.
season. Um, I'm pretty sure it's next season is where
I
yeah,
thought so too.
26, 27, University of
Yep.
Connecticut. So he's gone next year. And so looking at the roster coming back next year, I mean, but really quick, let's get into this 20-year-old conversation
Okay.
because this is a big thing that we're going to see a lot of movement with come WHL draft and into the offseason and over the summer. Um, we have so many 20-year-olds that next season. I mean, we have '06 born Smith Redmond, Linus Viard, Merrick Howell, Coco Armstrong, McIsaac Mays, Sarkinov, and Ethan Hughes. So two of those guys being imports, one of them being an import goaltender. I don't think we'll see Viard back in Spokane next year. Um, Sarkinov, I don't really know.
Hard to say.
We talked to Boiler about it a little bit too, and he's leaning more towards not coming back, but obviously anything can happen. You never know.
Because he's been away from home for a couple of seasons already now.
Yeah, and he missed a lot of time this year, and he didn't get a really a big chance to craft his game
Right.
much in Spokane, with missing for visa issues or the
Mm-hmm.
World Juniors, stuff like that. So that's another one that I think is up in the air. Obviously, I think McIsaac's going to NCAA.
Right.
Um, Smith Redmond is an interesting one.
We
What do
missed
you?
him this year.
Yeah, I mean, he missed 90% of the season.
He did.
And so obviously that sucks for him, but and Boiler alluded to this too when we talked to him. It's like it's when you miss that much time, it's hard to really get back into the groove of things.
And that's a lot of development that you've missed out on.
Yeah, and I think Boyle actually mentioned what I was thinking too is Jake McGrew. I mean, that's a perfect
Mm-hmm.
comparison right there. McGrew missing 2 seasons in the WHL due to
Right.
the same injury,
Right.
2 full seasons, and I think he's still doing well for himself playing in the ECHL professionally and everything too. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing. But I think with Smith Redmond, it's going to be really hard missing your entire 19-year-old season and then
I
coming
agree.
back as a 20-year-old. I can
I
see
agree.
him being one of those guys, unfortunately, that we just put on the waiver wire. Um,
At the first of the opportunity we get to in October.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Nathan Mays is another one that I had this conversation with a few people toward the end of the season last week, and a lot of people are saying that they don't see him coming back necessarily. I think him being a seventh round draft pick and being unsigned still,
Uh,
I want to say the only personally, this is just me. The only way that he doesn't come back is if he goes to NCAA this year. I
right,
don't foresee
right.
him necessarily making the jump to play professionally yet.
He needs more development, in my
I see
opinion.
him playing either NCAA or back in Spokane or, in the WHL somewhere, whether we, move him or not. But
Right.
I personally think that that's a guy that we can bring back, that we should be bringing back to kind of bring up the younger defenseman a little bit too. Because I mean, I love his game.
Me
I
too.
really do. I wish we had more guys like that on the back end, but I think if we could have him be one of the 20-year-old leaders and bringing up guys like Riker Doka and Sean Murphy for next year, I think that that would be a really key guy to keep around. But obviously, who knows? And then that leaves Marikal. I think he'll be back as a 20.
Do you?
And then for me, it's
He's
between the
he
last
seems like
two,
a prototypical 20-year-old to me.
and then
How does?
the last two is Ethan Hughes and Coco Armstrong. And I mean, I don't see after this year how you could not bring back Coco Armstrong.
Me either.
I mean, I think that was a breakout year for him without a doubt.
But I also don't see how you don't bring back. Who else did you just mention?
Hughes,
He was. Yeah.
yeah, no, I agree. So that's where the tough decisions come in, and obviously, I could be completely wrong on this, and we could be keeping other guys too. So
Do we have any other imports on the? I don't want to say roster because in the crosshairs, I should say.
no, well, we
No.
have because we're gonna have picks this year. Because
Right.
obviously we Dominic Peters gone. So and again, I really highly doubt we'll see Viard back. So there's another one. And Sarkinov, who knows too. So we could have two or
As,
three picks
assuming we
this year.
lose those guys, I wonder what's in the pipeline.
Yeah, I'm you know what? That's a good thing I should look up too. Um, because I don't know when that draft is. I can't remember. I am not.
I thought that came up earlier than the than the Memorial Cup for some reason. I don't.
I think it's
Did,
right around there.
is it?
Because last year I'm pretty sure it was. And so, or yeah, it was like right around the Memorial Cup, roughly, but I'm not finding anything on when it is this year as of right now. But yeah, obviously those European guys, you never know what you're gonna get, and it's kind of all up in the air. You could get a top
You
pick
could
and
get
then
somebody
have
really
it just
good.
be
Exactly.
whatever, or you could get somebody in a lower end and they
Exactly.
just turn out to be a star. So
We could get Erasmus Ekstrom. Or
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and so. That's another thing that is going to be really interesting to watch this offseason too is I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, if you had to pick three guys to keep your preferred 20-year-olds for next season
Preferred.
out of the guys that I had listed, who would you pick? Because myself personally, I'll give you a second to think about it because myself personally,
Okay.
Ethan Mays, Coco Armstrong, and Marikal.
I say Howell and Hughes for me and Coco.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, and here's the other thing too is I think if Mays comes back, you could make a pretty solid trade package to send him out and get a bunch of stuff coming in.
I agree.
That is
And
another thing that you could
and
do.
just having all the 20-year-olds we do have, whether it's Mays or I mean anybody, we're going to have something to work with too.
No, for sure. For
That's nice.
sure.
That's nice too.
100%. And I wouldn't be shocked to see as soon as the playoffs are over here to see movement right away.
Me
Because we
too.
got, I mean, quite frankly, Bardsley's got a lot of work to do this offseason.
At least we have a longer off season this year, unlike last year.
Right.
There is the positive, I guess, to being out so early in the playoffs. But yeah,
only look at the younger guys coming in next year, our prospects list. We have, Riker Doka. He played a handful of games earlier in the year on defense. I think he's going to be a good one. He's another. He reminds me of Harry Mattern a little bit, who we saw
A
in his
lot.
16-year-old year this year. He's a physical, smaller
Same build
defenseman.
too. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that they could be really fun to watch together. We just signed that Sean Murphy. He was our fifth round pick last year. Another defenseman. He is 5'7", 119. So he's another small guy, but more of an offensive defenseman. His numbers are kind of mirroring Braden Crampton's numbers, like, the 5, 6 goals and then, multiple assists and
Right.
everything like that too. So that'll be good to kind of have more of an offensive defenseman back there as well.
Somebody to
Um,
move the puck.
yeah, exactly. And then I believe those are the only ones that we've signed from that draft class. But then if we go back to 24, Bryson Roberts will be here full time next year. I think he did well for himself when he
He
played.
did.
Um, and guys like that too. So it's gonna be good to get those guys in the lineup. Looking at the draft board for this year, I haven't done too much research on like the actual prospects that we could draft, but the Chiefs have the 12th overall pick and the 16th overall pick this year. So that's good that we have a couple of firsts after not having one last year, and then we have another one early in the second round as well, 35th overall. So, um,
Nice.
if we look at it by round, I want to say 26. Yeah, we have one or two fours, 5, 8.
This will be a good test of the management. Like, what are you going to do and what are you going to get and what are you going to fill in?
It,
Because this year or next year, you're not getting X, Y, and Z back. Where
right.
last year we were still thinking we might get Catton back and
hmm
that kind of stuff too. So now you're almost at a clean slate a little bit too. What's this management going to do?
In the first 5 rounds of the draft this year, we have 8 picks. So, and that
That's a lot.
includes two in the first, two in the second, and then one in the fourth and three in the fifth. So,
Nice.
and you know what? I'm just gonna say it right now too. The Chiefs have had great success in drafting in the fifth round.
We have.
Coco Armstrong is one of those guys. So, having 3 5th round picks, obviously there could be some trade bait in there too,
Of
stuff like
course.
that. So, that's just another something to keep an eye on. But as I was just talking about, they signed defenseman Sean Murphy, um, from North Vancouver, BC, 28 games in the CSSHL U18, 25 points on 4 goals and 21 assists, and his team won the championship. And so finished the season first in points among 15-year-old defensemen in that league. So that's gonna be another fun guy to watch this year or this next year, and it'll be interesting to see come training camp. But um, anything else that you wanted to really kind of bring up and chat about here real quick before?
Did you see where Ryan Smith got our old coach is not coming back?
I didn't see
I,
that.
I saw that today too.
He's in
There's a lot
Regina,
of
correct?
yeah, there's a lot of coaches moving around right already too with the second round just getting underway.
Yeah, I've seen a handful of that too.
Yeah.
Um, the one other thing that I did want to touch on before I got talking about the 20-year-olds is, of the players coming back next year, who do you think possesses the most leadership capabilities to put the C on their jersey?
To put
Since we're
oh,
not
good
getting
question.
guys
To put the
back,
C on.
I have my pick. I'd like to hear yours.
I like Chase having it.
Yeah,
He speaks more with his game in my opinion, but I also wouldn't mind Marty having one.
yeah.
I could see that too. Just leading by example a little bit that way. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm going to throw you on my shoulders and I'm going to lead you guys this way kind of way of thinking.
For sure.
Yeah.
I both you can't go wrong with either of them. My personal pick would be Chase Harrington, and the
Yeah.
only and I think I talked about this in the conversation we had with Boiler
Boiler.
last week, but
You did. You did.
I want to say that game that he basically won for us to send us back up to Prince George really kind of solidified my opinion of who should be wearing the C. And
Agreed.
you could just tell by
He
his body language
he
that
cared.
he loves being in Spokane. He loves playing here. He
Yeah.
cares exactly. Um, I think that's a guy that will do right. He plays with passion and everything too. And not to say Owen Martin doesn't, but I think I I would put it on Chase, but I could see it being Marty too.
Hmm.
Marty being, a high NHL pick as well and stuff like that. And like you said, leading by example. And I could honestly see it being a co-captain type situation too. We've seen that before.
That's never gone wrong for us. Yeah.
Yeah, Jad and Ty Smith that one
Yeah.
year. I mean, it did fine for us, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I my personal pick would be Harrington, but I don't think you can go wrong with either of those guys. And who
I agree.
knows, it could be a complete surprise, and they could put it on somebody that we wouldn't expect to. So
How weird would it be to not be a defenseman? I feel like this organization likes to put it on a defenseman a lot of times.
they do, and that's another reason why I could see if Nathan Mays comes back, it going on him.
Yeah,
Because he possesses those qualities
he does.
too. Um,
He got
but
more consistent this year. He was kind of
yeah,
hit or miss, off or on. Prior
yeah,
to this year, he was much more consistent.
yeah. Um, but I could see it going on Mazer. But I really think like it should be Chase
I
Harrington
think
without
Chase
a
is the
doubt.
guy. I agree with that.
Um, and especially he's going to be drafted this year in the NHL, and that's just going to make him a better player going to training camp and whatnot too. So I think having that experience coming back and leading your team,
Hmm.
and quite frankly, I mean, from last year going into this past year, we kind of thought that this team was going to be, right back up there at the top of the West. And going from this year into next year, there's a lot of uncertainty on where this team is going to end up.
Hmm.
I could see it being either way, but I think with the coaching staff that we have and the players that we're gonna have coming back, and how well the younger guys played this year, coming back this year for their 18-year-old years, like Ezzy and
Hmm.
guys like that too. I think that this team could be solid next year.
And some collateral that we have to trade with too.
Yeah, so that's going to be the other interesting thing is come the end of the playoffs here, the dub, are we going to see the 20-year-old movements? Are we going to see any 20s for 20 swaps? I could see Bardsley doing something like that. I made this comment to you a couple weeks back. I would not mind seeing Bardsley trading to get a big name forward. Like
A big, yeah,
I think that's the one thing that this team lacked this year that we thought we were going to have in Berkeley
right,
is somebody to put the puck in the net anytime you need it
right.
and put up 50 goals. I think this team needs somebody like that.
Getting us another Andrew Crystal type player.
Exactly. Exactly. I think this team needs somebody like, and I personally would be okay with going out and trading, two players and a couple of picks for
To get
for
that.
a guy like that for this year. Like, I mean, let's go back and think about Connor Roulette, that trade that they made to get
Right.
Roulette. They gave up two, I think it was second or third round picks to get Connor Roulette for his 20th year to mentor Catton. And look how well that worked out. I mean, Roulette had a career year, Catton had
Worked
a
out for
career year,
everybody. It worked out for those
and
guys. It worked out for the organization. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And then you get halfway through that year trading, making that trade for Shea Van Olm too, and
Right.
then him and Catton working together last year, and obviously Catton and Van Olm both moving on, but I think you gotta start building with the young talent you have because I think we have guys that have the potential to put 30, 40 goals up on the
I
board.
agree. In the right situation, they do.
And I'm really excited to see Tyus Sparks play a full season next year
Right.
as well.
Me too.
I mean,
Hopefully, his
talk about a
shoulder
special
heals up
player.
over the summer.
Yeah, for sure. Really excited to watch him play a full year with us next year because he's another guy who's going to get drafted this year,
Yeah.
and so there's that too.
It's crazy to think he's not drafted already. The kind of player we saw on the ice this year.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he outperformed what a lot of people were expecting as well come when
Yeah.
he got traded. So, um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was a great pickup.
I still personally think the future is bright, but you never know.
Yeah. You still got to play the games.
Exactly. Cappy, do you have any final thoughts?
I do not. It's hockey season. Now we're getting ready to go into the NHL playoffs, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, well, who's your Stanley Cup pick?
Well, yeah, I'm hoping for Tampa. They're my team,
Uh-huh.
but it's hard to say. I feel like this could be Colorado's year for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like the West is going to be pretty easy for people to get through.
Yeah,
So, but it's hard to say. The first round will be telling. Again, I hate the playoff format for the first round.
I
We
do
got
too.
the top teams playing each other and then repairing. I hate that.
They
Um,
need to go back to the 1-8 style.
I
The
agree.
the
I
wild
agree.
card shit is so dumb.
I agree.
Like actually saw a stat earlier today on Instagram that was like it was like the Caps had more points than somebody in the West and
Isn't that crazy?
and the team in the West is in the first wild card spot and the Caps are out or some
Isn't that
shit.
crazy to see? I've seen some things
Yeah,
like that
it's like
too.
it
Yeah.
should. I don't think personally don't think it should be like that, but you
No.
know it is what it is.
Right.
It's that time of year where even the late season games where teams are vying for position in the playoffs or getting in general, those games are really exciting too. They have that playoff feel. We saw that in the WHL this year too.
Agreed.
Um, I mean, you look at the Flyers game last night and
That was
that
so good.
clinching in the shootout. You love to see stuff like that, and now the real fun starts here in the NHL soon too,
Right.
as well as we got the second round of the WHL playoffs going on as well.
Yes, we do. Who's your pick in the next round or coming out in the WHL playoffs? In the East, who do you got?
For next round,
Yeah.
I got PA Medicine Hat in the East,
Yeah.
and I got Everett and I got Everett
Everett
and PG
PG.
in the finals, and I think Everett stomps on their
I hope
throats.
so. I hope so.
But like I was just saying, I don't see anybody beating Everett, honestly.
I don't either. This is their year, I feel like.
Something feels different.
If it does. If they stay healthy, it'll be good. And
Uh-huh.
DuPont is that much more experienced now too. He's having himself a good second half of the season.
Yeah, he's been great too, and that's another name that's rumored to go to NCAA in the next couple of
Is he? I
years as
hadn't heard
well.
that.
Yeah,
Really?
not next year, but the year after potentially. So,
Ah,
um, yeah, so that's gonna be another thing to watch out for with guys going to make the
I
jump to
wonder how much
college.
more of that's going to happen this year than happened last year with guys going the NCAA route. And who's going to stay in the WHL?
I,
Everybody always gets inspired when they see the NCAA guys playing, and they're like, you start hearing all the talk of guys staying, and then when the WHL playoffs get going, you start hearing talk about going the other way, and everybody's these guys are going to stay in the WHL because it's so much better. It just changes back and forth depending on what's in season. I guess is the best way to put it.
well, here's my thinking. I really like when the guys that are 19, 20 years old, aging out of the WHL, making the jump to go play NCAA as opposed to going to like Canadian U
Canadian
Sports.
college, right?
I think NCAA is a lot more competitive, and you and me are both ones that have not watched a lot of NCAA college
No,
hockey. But we watched it a little bit more this past year with some ex-WHL guys in there and everything too. We just watched the national championship game the other night. I mean, talk about high octane, physical,
right?
fast hockey. I mean,
It's
that
it's
was.
it's very
I,
fast.
I got to be honest. I almost ate my words a little bit because I was thinking, watching the WHL compared to even that felt faster. But you got to also think about the fact that these guys are as old as like 24, 25 too.
True, true.
So I think if you're making the jump to NCAA at 18, you're a very special player.
Hmm.
I definitely can understand why people would choose to go that route at that age if you're like a highly touted NHL prospect.
Right.
But I think you see these guys committing for 2 years down the line or whatever when they're that age. I think that's fine. Like seeing guys like Sather, for example, is committed to a university for the 27-28 season.
Is he? I didn't
So
realize that.
So he'll be making the jump as well and everything, but um it, you got to understand, there's a big age gap in NCAA. A lot of 21 to 25-year-olds
Ruddy
and
men
everything
versus
too.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good for a player's development for sure, especially when you are a highly touted
If
prospect.
you're that guy. Yeah.
But I still think the WHL has its place, and like junior hockey has its place for development and everything, for those guys that aren't necessarily the highly touted prospects. So, like it's great to see those guys in their 17, 16, 17, 18-year-old seasons, but then after that it's like, okay, I mean, you've kind of proved yourself here, and take Gavin McKenna as a perfect example in
Mm-hmm.
MedSnat. He went over to NCAA for Penn State and had a great season. So,
Right.
and he's probably going to go first or second overall this year. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on the NCAA thing.
I find it interesting how they're trying to counteract all that stuff. They're going to give these guys more time on their Eastern road trip. We were just reading that yesterday
Yeah,
in the future too, to allow for some air travel possibly for some teams
yeah, uh-huh.
and things too. So they're trying to do some things so people don't. I don't want to say lose interest in the CHL, but
I don't
to try
think
to.
I don't think people will lose interest
I don't either,
necessarily,
but they're just trying to keep it even. I think a little bit.
which isn't bad, and I think we'll see more
No,
of
it's not.
that. I think we'll see
It's
more of that kind of
everybody's
stuff.
growing and learning as they go.
Yeah, we'll see a lot more of that kind of stuff in the next 5 years. Like we'll see like, rules implemented on when you can commit, when you can do
Right.
this, and all that stuff too. I still think overall this is a good thing for hockey
I do too.
because you don't have these colleges going to scout these kids playing at 13, 14 to get them to commit to a college when they're 19, 20 years old, when they're 14,
When they're not even driving yet.
when they're not
Exactly.
even in high school yet.
Yeah.
And so it's like I still think overall it's better for the players' development to let them make that choice
Mm-hmm.
themselves, and everything too. And I think a lot of it's benefited both ways because you see a lot of guys that were playing in the BCHL and the AJHL that have made the jump to major junior
Mm-hmm.
to play a couple of seasons before going to NCAA because they have that ability now. They don't lose their eligibility.
Right.
So again, I think it works both ways for sure. But you were just talking about the air travel stuff and everything too. There's that tweet from John Keane today about
Yeah.
potentially next season moving the first round to best of five.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I honestly am not a fan of that,
No.
and I know they're extending the season by a week, is what I heard. But to make up for that, they're going to cut the first round down to a best of five. I think that really kind of ruins what makes the playoffs special,
Best of
personally.
seven all around is
It
better in
should,
my opinion.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Because that fourth game is always the hardest one to win. So
True.
how are you gonna want to, cut that
And
down?
then what do they do? Do they do one, and one when they, you know,
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. How is that gonna work?
right? With
So
travel always being an issue, it seems like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to really kind of keep an eye on, the rule changes for next year too. So
Yeah.
really
Different
interesting stuff.
landscape for sure.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of all I got, Cappy.
Works for me.
We could end the episode with our follow up with Boiler from the first round playoff series, and
Perfect. So
kind
glad we
of.
got to talk to him a couple times this year. That was nice.
Oh, absolutely, and I know he'll come on whenever we want him to come on too. He's
Yes.
busy with the Indians now too,
He
but
likes talking hockey.
we got to get over to the ballpark and see him one of these days here soon. So
Today would have been a good day for a daytime game. They played like 11:30 or something today, but it's colder than crap here today.
it was dumping rain a little bit ago, and I got off of work.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's like 40 some degrees, like low 40s.
yeah, for
It is
sure.
now 43 degrees outside. And they're
Yeah,
calling
it's
for maybe the S word a little bit coming up in the next day or two.
shut the fuck up.
I know.
Anyway, but yeah, we'll probably just obviously we're not going to have much to talk about unless there's like news going forward. So we'll probably just do
Or
sporadic episodes like we always do in the off season.
maybe an interview or two if we can gather somebody.
Well, we have this is episode 98. We're coming up on episode 100. We're gonna try to make a 100 special. We had, our 50. We had Ozzy McIntyre and Catton on. We're gonna try to talk to a couple of people, whether they're former, current, or whatever, and see if we can get them on for to make the 100th
Very
episode a
that
party. So.
that'd be awesome.
And
We
yeah, and again, who knows when 100 will come out with being the off season now, not have much news to talk about. But
right.
whenever there's big news coming out, whether it's a trade or WHL drafts or stuff like that, we'll do a recap episode and just kind of follow up sporadically throughout the summer too. But once again, thanks for listening, all of our
Thank you,
listeners. It's
guys.
awesome, and we love doing this, and we'll look forward to doing it again next year.
We do. It keeps us involved in the game. I like it.
Absolutely, and we love talking hockey. So.
We do.
All right, Cappy. Well, until next season,
Go Chiefs, go till next season.
go Chiefs, go. Well, another Chiefs season has come and gone. They fought hard and they battled back and forced a game 6 up in Prince George. But like you said on the air last night, Boiler, they just looked tired.
They were gassed.
They did. They did. And I think anyone that's watched the game or watched this team in particular this year could see that. I mean, you saw the energy level that they put forth in games 3, 4, and 5 in particular. And then early in game 6, they had it.
Hmm.
I thought when they answered in the first period with a goal that got them on top, then they answered early in the second after Prince George had taken the lead on that power play goal. I thought everything was good then. But then that 2 to 3 minute period midway through the second, they gave up back-to-back goals and they were down 4-2. It just, you could tell right then that it was done. The passing was not crisp. It was, behind guys in the skates, a little too far out in front, and the guys just didn't have that extra step to get a stick on the puck. Just little things, and watching just the energy level of the guys making plays, it just wasn't there. And hey, who can blame them? I mean, they had expended a lot of injury or energy. They had suffered some key injuries.
Hmm.
Being without Ty Sparks up front, being without Rhett Sather on that back end. Some minutes got a little longer for some guys, and it just ran out of gas. The one thing I'll never do with this club is question its effort or its heart, and they certainly showed it in abundance. But unfortunately, like they told me, hey, we dug ourselves this hole, we have to dig ourselves out, and in the end, just didn't have enough shovel.
Yeah.
Yeah, great way to put it.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
I mean, I really thought every single game in this series, except for maybe a 40-minute stretch in game 1, was pretty even. I think the Chiefs dominated 5-on-5 play for the most part. The penalties just really cost them. I mean, and it's I don't want to say I don't I hate being that guy that blames the officiating, but I'm
It
sorry. I
it was
thought
a
it was
factor though.
I thought it was pretty piss poor in a lot of
It
games in
was.
this
It was.
series.
Oh,
But
well, for me, in the end, yeah, the officiating didn't decide this series.
No.
The Chiefs' special teams decided
yeah,
this series. I
yeah,
mean, the inability to score on the power play and the inability to stop Prince George's power play. I mean, that to me was the big, big difference in this series.
no
And
doubt.
and the problem is that when you look at it, the Chiefs got more power play chances than Prince George in this
Right.
series. When you look at it, even though they could have probably had more, uh, they had more when you get down to it, and they just didn't take advantage. The power play, unfortunately, reverted back to what it was doing in November and December.
Hmm.
And credit Prince George's penalty kill unit for part of that, but at the same time, I thought the puck movement and just the overall flow of the power play and creating chances just wasn't there on a regular
Yeah,
basis. I mean, it was inconsistent at best. You'd have moments where it was really good, and then there were moments where it just, was not even close to being in sync. So, uh, you know, yeah, the officiating for me, it was tough in game 1 because, the hit that Brody Gillespie was assessed the 4-minute double minor was not a good call.
It
It
wasn't.
just wasn't. And it was a turning point in the game because Prince George is down 3-1. They get that 4 minute power play starting in the final minute of the first. So they get 3+ minutes in the second period to start. They score. They're now back in the game. They tie it up at the end of two, and then they took over in the third period. Chiefs had that 5 minute major penalty on Sarkanoff, which again, they said that he elevated, and they suspended him. I thought it was telling that they gave him 2 games after giving him 2 games on an earlier major
Right.
penalty. Yeah, I thought if it was really egregious, he's looking at three
Hmm.
going on that hit, but didn't happen. And the Chiefs got tired. I mean, they're killing off penalties half or over half of that second period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost all of it. It seemed like.
Yep, it sure felt like it. There's no question. And that tires guys out. You've got big time guys that are out there playing a lot of penalty kill minutes, and they just didn't have enough in that third period. But I think you're right. After that game, I thought it was a really even series.
Hmm.
And I actually thought, for the most part of that series in all 6 games, 5-on-5, we were the better team. I mean, I honestly think that if we had been able to limit Prince George's penalty or power play with our penalty kill unit, we'd still be playing.
Hmm.
But I mean, they went, what, 9 for 17 on the power
Hmm.
play in that series. I
That's
mean,
Yeah.
crazy.
you don't see that. That's crazy numbers. But again, the penalty kill, it just didn't get it done. They moved the puck. Um, but the fact is, they didn't do anything remarkably different than what they had done in the regular season, especially that first weekend in March. They had not done a whole lot different. So, in the end, special teams, they usually are the difference in a playoff series, and they certainly were in this one.
Yeah, I mean that's very true. We just got done watching the end of Saskatoon and Edmonton. They're
Yeah.
in overtime of Game 7 up there. Power play goal ends it for Saskatoon. I mean, it's you say it every year, but it's like especially come playoff time, you can't be taking those penalties and putting the other team a man up.
No question, Saskatoon got their first goal tonight on
Hmm.
on the power play as well. And for the most part, we're pretty much stifled
Hmm.
5-on-5 by Edmonton. I think Edmonton probably outplayed them 5-on-5 in the series as well as this game tonight. But at the same time, that power play can be a great equalizer in a game and in a series. And no doubt it served well for Saskatoon. And now they get a monster challenge taking on the
PA.
top seed in the East and Prince Albert on little rest. I mean, they had to play a 2 overtime game at home yesterday, then travel all the way to Edmonton, play another overtime game. Now they got to head back and open a series in Prince Albert on Friday. Good luck. I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to be up against it. Now, maybe you can take some of that momentum in the early going, but if Prince Albert comes out flying at all and takes the first 2 games, the Blades are definitely going to be in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But yeah, talking about the penalty kill and game 5. I mean,
Mm,
the overtime win, obviously a fantastic comeback in the late in the third
yes.
period and in overtime. But you look at the special teams and Prince George is 3 for 3 on the power play in that game too. And it's one of those things where it's like we wouldn't have had to make that miraculous comeback if they weren't taking all these penalties that were unnecessary.
Well, no question. And the thing is that the Chiefs had 7 power play chances in that game
Hmm.
and converted one, and it turned out to be the turnaround goal from Owen Martin in the third.
Hmm.
I mean, got him within 3-2 on that rebound. I thought that, the Chiefs did a good job of it early in the series, kind of wandered away from it, and then got it going later in the series, getting the puck on net and making Ravensburg and cough up some rebounds. Because for me, I saw that in the first period of game one. I said, you know what? If we just follow this formula, we're going to be in good shape in this series. Um, I think he's susceptible there. I think it's going to be a tough go for Prince George to advance, especially against Penticton, a club that can play in the front of the net and muck it
Hmm.
up, and they're physical. They're an older team. They're going to be quite a matchup. Should be a good series between those clubs, but that to me is going to be the big thing. Keep your eye on whether or not Penticton can get in his eyes, get net front, and get after some rebounds, because when the Chiefs did that, they had success. And so I think the formula is out there right now on what you need to do against Prince George.
When he
Yeah.
gets a little bit rattled, he seems susceptible to some stuff.
No doubt, and I
Yeah.
think it's like any young goalie, if things don't go your way necessarily, and I saw that in Carter Hart when he was in Everett,
Hmm.
and any good goalie, that has come down the pike, things don't go well, have a tendency to get a little frustrated because you're used to success.
Right.
Um, it's been the rare goaltender where I've looked at him and nothing fazed them, especially at this age. That's something that develops through their AHL and NHL careers. But at this stage in the Western Hockey League or any of the Canadian hockey leagues, they're young guys. And you got to remember that a lot of them are, 17 to 19 years
Hmm.
old. They've had success probably at a high level throughout their career, and then all of a sudden, they get bombed for 5 goals in a period and a half, and you know they're not going to handle it all that great.
Yeah.
So it's rare that you see a goaltender that's calm under that. The one guy, as I'm talking like this, that really kind of reflected coolness and maturity that I had not seen before or since Carey Price in
Right.
Tri-City. He
Yeah.
never got phased. He never got phased. And the Chiefs, I thought, had great success against him
They
in his
did.
career in Tri-City. One of the few teams that really had his mark. But at the same time, he could give up 3, 4 goals, within a, period and a half, 2 period stretch, and you couldn't tell the difference. It looked like
Yeah.
the same guy that was, starting the game.
Yeah.
I definitely can see the comparison there with Ravensburg, and he's so calm under pressure. One thing that I did notice, and the Chiefs really seem to take advantage of it in games 5 and in game 6 as well.
You
Um,
commented on it.
Shooting stick side on him he seems to be very susceptible there because he's a right-handed catcher, and you don't see that very often with
Hmm.
goaltenders. And I feel like once the Chiefs finally got a puck or two past him on the blocker side, they really started to kind of click.
Yeah, it is different because that's the side you're usually used to shooting at.
Right.
Low blockers is the toughest area for a goaltender to defend, and boy, you see it all the time. Um, I saw it tonight in that Saskatoon Edmonton game. I mean,
Hmm.
the couple of times the guys got beat down in the low blocker area, and so. Yeah, it's different when you're facing that guy who catches with his right hand. I mean, it's not very often you see that. Um, and he's very good with his glove.
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
he
Very
swallows
good.
It gobbles it all
everything
up.
up.
Yeah.
Yep. And his size presents issues too because you're a guy going in, he doesn't give you a lot to look at. I mean, we had some real good views in Prince George from our booth, and anytime that we got a guy coming down the wings, whether it was down the left wing to my left, right wing to my right, I would see the same thing the shooter saw, and I'm going, he doesn't give you a lot. It's just not
No, he
there,
doesn't.
and so um, with any kind of big goalie for me is, as I said, you either got to get in his eyes and crash the net, or you got to make him move.
Hmm.
And if you're going to try to beat him high, you better have a really good shot because he doesn't give you a lot upstairs, but he is susceptible low. And I made the comment on air that big guys usually don't get down as well. Um, and
Yep.
so I think that's another plan that, Penticton or whoever going forward will probably look to exploit. But I'm sure Ravensburgen and the coaches are looking at it and saying, hey, this is where you need to shore up and get
Right.
better. And so
Right.
he may just get better as these playoffs go along. And he could be a great equalizer for the Cougars going forward.
Well, fact of the matter is he stole 2 or 3 games for Prince George in this series, no doubt about it. But there's one big thing in this series that I wanted to get your opinion on. There's a couple of controversial hits or penalties that caused a lot of uproar on Facebook and all the
Hmm.
armchair fans and everything too. The one that I really want to talk about is that hit on Tyus Sparks in
Oh.
game 5. From your point of view, I mean, we sit up high too, but you're up even higher than we are, and we could
Yeah.
see it coming. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was a suicide pass, and it's something that a pass you can't be making. But
Agreed.
that hit, I mean, with Vaughn's history of disciplinary issues and everything too, did you see that hit being a little bit too high at all?
I think the key thing that happened is that he never elevated or left his skates, unlike
Yeah,
Sarkinov's hit in game one.
yeah,
I think the league really looks at that. Um, I mean, he was flat-footed. Let's face it. I mean, I compared it. Worm's pass was like a quarterback throwing it over the middle to
Yep.
a receiver, right with a
yeah,
linebacker or a cornerback going right at him.
yeah.
And it should have never been made. And
No,
I
it
think,
was,
Worm be the first to tell you that. Um, but Sparksy never saw him. I mean,
yeah.
he never saw him. And that's a tough place to be when you're in center ice and you got a guy bearing down on you and you turn right into full impact, especially a guy of Vaughn's size.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, I think if he had come up and elevated in any type of way, yeah, I mean, you're talking, a couple to 3 game suspension easily. But
Yeah,
the fact that he didn't elevate, um, and didn't go to the head,
right.
most of the contact was right in the shoulder. Unfortunately, just jammed the shoulder. I think that in the end is what the league looked at on that particular hit.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know. I think at the time I was originally thinking, like just based on his history of
Mm,
disciplinary issues and everything too, and um I thought it was a little bit dirty. Going after and watching the replay afterwards, you could tell it was a clean hit. He just
It
took
was.
advantage of his opportunities.
right, right,
Obviously an unfortunate result losing Sparks, but
right, right.
a player like Jackson or Corbin Vaughn is going to take advantage of
Oh, no
in that
question.
situation 9 times out of 10. And again, it's just an unfortunate result. But then, last night, same player, that neon Burkhar, that one, I think going back and
Agreed.
watching that in slow mo, you can see him extend his knee out
Oh
there,
yeah.
and
Yes,
that was pretty frustrating to watch. Seeing
agreed,
no call made after that.
agreed. And the fact is that if this was a game seven, I'm sure the Chiefs would have sent something into the league and said, "Hey,
Yeah,
you missed it."
yeah,
And there's no question in my mind when it happened. I think you can even hear it in my call where I was just like, "Oh," or just like, "Whoa," that was my initial reaction was that, he stuck his leg out and, Gavin was trying to go around him over to his left, and that leg came right out at the end
yeah,
and clipped him good. Um, Fortunately, Gavin was just a little sore afterwards, was able to walk, but, just was a little sore. But same time, lost him for the rest of the game.
right,
And you've got a young forward who could help you give you minutes
yeah,
going into that third period, and you're without him now. So yeah, that's one the league missed. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, everyone can talk about referees being humans, but at the same time, for me, there's 4 set of eyes out there,
Hmm.
yeah.
and it just seems like one has to be stepping up and saying, "Hey, this happened."
Exactly.
You know,
Well, and the thing that really frustrated me was, first of all, we didn't get your feed on victory last night. There's some
uh,
technical issues or whatever, so
Yes.
we were forced to listen to the Prince George
And that
play-by-play.
sucked.
Um, uh, and I think, well, the biggest issue for me with that play is the referees are convening by the scores table and they're talking about how you can't go and watch a replay and then make a call afterwards. But it sure seemed to me like that's what happened with Sarkinov's hit in game
yes,
one.
It sure did.
So that
yes,
that that's what I think was pretty frustrating to me, and it got a lot of people kind of up in arms. But
And with good
Um,
cause, because that's exactly what happened on Sarkonov's hit. When
yeah,
Sarkonov had the initial hit on Sobry at center ice, no
No
call.
call at all.
There was no call. None of the referees, the officials didn't say anything. But then the thing that irked me, and I may have even referred to it, in fact, I'm sure I did, they showed the replay 3 times
yeah,
up on the center scoreboard. Now the fans are just getting all bent out of shape. And one of the linesmen sits up there watching it, and he decides he's going to go over and tell the guys, hey, this is what I saw.
yeah,
And that's how the penalty evolved.
yeah.
So, yeah, maybe, in a fantasy world, yeah, that's not the way it's supposed to go, but that's exactly how it transpired in game one with Sarkanoff. So for me, it was like, okay, they're having this conversation, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe they're going to come about
Right.
to the right call here. And for me, it was like, okay, even if you don't give them a 5 minute major, a 4 minute double minor seems like a good penalty to
For
give
sure.
in this situation, and nothing.
Yeah.
Got absolutely nothing out of it. And so, and like I said, if you got nothing good to say nothing at all. And I bit my tongue to bleeding. Um, that's, as I said, that's just one the leg missed,
I
plain and
thought,
simple.
yeah, completely agreed. Um, One bright spot though toward the end of the game, I thought it was a very classy move by Brad Lauer to put the 20-year-olds out there for the
Yes.
last minute and a
Yes.
half, and Sam Oremba getting that goal with however many seconds left in the game. A great way to end his career. I mean, he had a hell of a WHL career
He did.
with three different teams, but that's a great way to cap it off, if you ask me. So that was really good to see, and I really enjoyed seeing those three guys out there together for the last minute.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, even after they scored that empty net goal, he put Dom and Worm and Sammy out there, and you know, no quit. Went right after him, and Sammy got the goal with 3 seconds left, and it just kind of took all that celebration and kind of a little
Yeah.
bit, which was fine by me. It was great to see, and they all got a point on their last
Hmm.
shift in the Western Hockey League, and great group. I mean, there's no question the getting Worm and Dom at the trade deadline really paid off for this club in their second half performance this year. And no question that it's going to be interesting to see who we have coming back as 20s next year, because there's definitely going to be some decisions to be made there.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk about next is where does this team go for next season? Because you look at the '06 borns for next year.
Mm.
Obviously, we're not going to have a lot of these guys coming back because as of right now, we have eight '06 borns on our roster, including
That's
some
crazy.
pretty notable names too. With Viard, Howe, Mays, McIsaac. Well, McIsaac's going NCAA, I know that. Armstrong, Hughes, Redmond, Sarkanoff. So I mean that's huge. And with
Yep,
a couple of those guys being imports and one of them being an import goalie, I highly doubt we see him back.
I agree.
But
I agree.
and you know what? Sarkinov, I'd say it's the same situation. I mean you never know. But I'm starting to lean towards he's gonna go play somewhere else. Um,
That would be my guess.
yeah.
He's a long ways from home. Um, and I think that, he's probably going to try to find a pro league somewhere to play. That would be my educated guess. I don't know this. This is just me speculating. But, do you take up 2 spots
Right.
for someone who scored 3, 4 goals for you as a 19?
Yeah.
Um, you know, his year this year, uh, wasn't projected to be what it was. I think a lot of people, including myself, thought that, hey, this is going to be a 25 goal scorer
Me too.
this year. But, he was kind of set back with, the visa issues in the early part of the year. And then you had the
World
World
Juniors.
Junior, that took him away for almost 2 months. That was tough. And the thing that people don't remember is that last year was just his first year, and he's a third, fourth line guy last year, so he wasn't really a regular minutes eater. So he's still learning the game.
Yeah.
Um, and then this year, he's starting, like he's 8 weeks behind
Yeah.
in class. That's a tough place to be, especially, with the language and everything else going. Yeah, it's going to be. I would imagine that he's going to be looking to move on. I'm sure the Chiefs would be glad to have him back. But at the same time, you mentioned the numbers that are there,
Yeah.
and for me, there's no sure thing. You
I
know,
know.
there just isn't because you can look at, okay, trades, and Matt has never been afraid to pull the trigger. He's got some guys where he can go, okay, I got some 20-year-old
Hmm.
collateral here
Yeah.
Yeah.
that some teams are going to be interested in. Um, Mike Isaac, as you mentioned, probably not going to be back.
Yeah.
I don't think Mays is going to be back either. I think in the end that Toronto, or if he goes NCAA, he's going to be making a move as a 20-year-old D man. Smith Redmond, a tough call. He missed practically all of this year.
Yeah.
His shoulder situation. I mean, you just don't know. It's a big question mark whether or not he's going to be able to give you a full year of health. But the fact is, he's missed about a year and a half, and that's tough time to miss and develop as a player. So that's going to be a tough call, even though he's an outstanding kid in the room, outstanding person overall. And boy, when he's flying like he was with Ekstrom and Aremba last year, I mean, they were a special line to
Yeah.
watch. So that's going to be a tough call, whether you go there or not. I think Coco Armstrong, if I were to pick one guy at the top that I think has the best chance of returning, it's him.
I agree.
I think it would be him. Boy, he's a plug-in, can fill any role type of guy. Like he had to play top line in last night's game six.
It was kind of a breakout year for him too. I
No
think that
doubt.
really, really pays in his favor.
No doubt. He's had to overcome, the injury bug. His 17-year-old season, he missed quite a bit of that. Last year, battled some injury early in the season, but yet, was a contributor in the second half of that year. And then this year was a leader out there. I mean,
Yeah, he
his
was.
forecheck work was the best on the club. And when Worm joined, I mean, that really, solidified having guys on our top two lines that really led the forecheck. Um, I would think he would be the top guy from that list in my mind that would be coming back as a 20. And then after that, man, you just roll the dice. I mean, it's just, it could be a number of guys that could make that. And as I said, Matt's going to have the great advantage of having some trade capital that he can
Yeah,
look at it and go, okay, maybe we're a little deeper in this area up front. We can go after another
right.
D man. Because Merrick Howell will be the one guy back, I think, as a 20 on the
Yeah.
back end. And so do you decide he's going to be the lone guy, or do you go out and get somebody else to join him, or do you get somebody different? I mean, this is why I'm not a general manager, because you could sit there and the scenarios could just be dancing around your head all off season. So there's going to be a lot on the plate, and it's going to be a pretty busy period by the time camp's rolling around.
I would definitely like to see more of Merrick Howell next year. I think when he came in, he didn't do anything spectacular necessarily, but he was solid in his
He just
role.
stabilized everything. Yeah, yeah.
And
Agreed.
I'd like to see more from him for sure. And then Ethan Hughes is another guy that I would like to
Yeah,
see more of.
Me too.
yeah.
That's a guy that I think has yeah, plenty of experience in this league. He came in this year, played fourth line minutes majority of the year, but when he got bumped up to a higher line in the lineup, he really fit in well. I mean, I think he could fit in anywhere in the lineup, and he's
And
got a hell of a
produced.
shot. He's great on the boards. I
Mhm.
just think he's overall a great hockey player. My only question with him is like, is that type of a player, somebody that's going to fill one of our 20-year-old spots, and that's going to be another one of those things. But I told my dad a couple weeks ago, I said, you know what? I think I would be okay with this offseason Bardsley going out and just saying screw it and getting a top guy from somewhere
Mhm.
for next
Right.
year.
Mhm.
Because compared right now to this time last year, I saw, kind of into the future of this team a little bit, and right now I don't. I don't really know where this team is gonna go. And so I would like to see Bardsley just take that first step and say, hey, we're going to go out there and get a guy that's going to score 35, 40 goals for us.
Well, no doubt. And, we talked about the 20-year-olds. You look at the 20-year-olds returning, you don't project a 40 goal score
Right.
from them. Uh, and he went out and got Andrew Crystal 2 seasons ago. He was 19, but you knew he was a guy that was going to give you 35 to
Right.
40 or more. And he did just that. And he really was a great impetus. But the fact is that we had a couple of 20-year-olds that could put the puck in the net in Shea Van Olm and Rasmus Ekstrom.
Yeah.
And this year's team didn't have that. It was a completely different model. The scoring was more balanced, which is great. But at the same time, when your top goal scorers 28, 29 goals in the course of a 68 game season, it really doesn't strike the fear in the hearts of men of your opponent.
Yeah.
So and the way you get that is if you're balancing that where you're getting, three lines where you've got guys scoring between 25 and 30 goals, which, a lot of clubs aim for. And the good teams this year did that.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the big thing for me is that, okay, yeah, you can go out and get a 40, 45 goal scorer, but at what expense do you do that?
Right.
Do you have the depth where you can get six other guys scoring 20 goals or more?
Right.
If you have that, then yeah, by all means. But at the same time, if you've got guys that haven't taken those steps yet, that's a real risk you take.
Yeah, no doubt. One last thing that I have for you that I'd like to get your opinion on, leadership crew for next season. If
Mm,
McIsaac doesn't come back, which he likely will not, I
hmm
personally I think I would put the C on Chase Harrington.
You could go with Chase or Owen Martin.
Hmm.
I think either one of them would be good guys. If you've got Merrick Howell back, he's a guy that you could
Yep.
certainly put it on as well. I mean
You
that's
know the Chiefs like going to defenseman for that.
well, yeah. The nice thing is that you're not lacking in the room. There
Right.
isn't a big question mark where you're going, oh boy, who's going to take the lead on this club? I don't think that's going to be an issue next year. So I'm excited to see who goes and kind of grabs the job by the mantle. I mean, really, that's the thing for me is that who comes out and kind of seizes the bull by the horns and decides that, hey, I'm going to be the guy in the room. I'm going to make everyone accountable, and most of all, I'm going to lead by example. And you get that, you're going to have success. And I look at the successful Chiefs teams that I've covered, now going on 25 years. They've always had that guy that was the alpha male that made things turn.
Mhm.
The winning teams always had those.
Yeah, absolutely. The only reason that I personally say I think it should be Harrington is because game five, when he scored that game tying goal, I saw a lot of pride from him.
Hmm.
How like you could tell how much scoring that goal to tie the game meant to him. And when he's skating to the bench and he's grabbing the logo on his jersey and going like this to the crowd, I was like, you know what? That's the kind of stuff that you love to see as a fan that shows that these players care. And that was one of those things that just really kind of stood out to me. And I was like, you know what? That's a guy that I would put the C on if I was a head coach.
Well, there's no question Harry cares. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a passionate player in what he does, and I thought he took some steps this year as far as his 200-foot game is concerned. Much more physical presence this year
Hmm.
than he had been in the past. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see the step that he takes this year because there's no question in my mind he's going to get drafted
Oh
by the
yeah.
NHL, and I think that that's going to be another impetus for him to elevate himself. Um, I'm excited to see his progression next year because in my mind, he should be a guy that scores 35 to 40 goals next year.
No doubt.
I mean, I'm not putting any pressure on you, Harry, okay? I'm just saying that, if you're looking at the natural progression and his 19-year-old season, I think that he's the type of player that when they drafted him number one in the first round, I think that when he was a first round pick in the Bantam draft, that's what the team was envisioning is him
Yeah,
being that kind of player. The talent is there, the skill set is there, the moxie is now there, in my opinion. I think that I'm looking forward to seeing how he progresses next year.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Like his feistiness.
Yes, yes, which he hadn't always shown.
No.
And this year, he was a guy that would step up and, if a young kid, took a hit, he was the first guy there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're totally respected on that bench and in that locker room when you're that type of player.
Yep.
Well, Boiler, hockey season's done for you, and now we're on to baseball. What's your schedule looking like going forward here in the
Oh,
next
let me
week
see.
or so?
I'm on the road to Hillsboro tomorrow morning. We got 6 games there, and then we're home for 6 with Vancouver, and then a nice 2-week road trip between Everett and Eugene
Oh
to end the
boy.
month of April. Yes. So yeah, I'm on the road 3 of the next 4 weeks. So
This guy does not get a day off. My goodness.
no, there is no day off. Yeah, basically, I got back at 11:30. I was down getting the rental car for the trip to Hillsboro within 45 minutes. And then started getting the gear ready, changing over from my hockey bag to my baseball bag. Yeah, it's been nuts. And the boys are on spring break, so I'm taking them with me to Hillsboro, so I'm getting them ready
Fun. Fun.
to go. And so, yeah, it's gonna be an exhausting day on Tuesday. I'm just gonna say that right now.
You will sleep
Well,
well tomorrow night.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. That snoring you'll hear from Hillsboro, you know who it is.
Sonic
well,
boom.
Boiler, it's been great having you on the last
It
couple of
has.
episodes, and definitely look forward to coming to visit you at the ballpark this summer.
Yeah.
Definitely,
For
we're going to
sure.
be trying to go to more Indians games this year for sure. Because
We are.
one question for you, do they have that holiday kid
Don't have
in?
him yet.
Not
He's in
yet.
Fresno right now, but the way he progressed the latter half of last year, I think if he gets off to a decent start, we could easily see him by end of May, early June.
Would love to
And
go
that's
and watch
just
that kid play.
that's usually the formula is that, you play that first half of your first year, you do fairly well, you come back, you get off to a good start first couple of months, and then they'll bump you up, especially if you're a number one pick and fourth
Oh
overall.
yeah,
They're gonna they're gonna boost you up, much like they did Charlie Condon when he came
right.
through in Spokane. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. But boy, there's some exciting young talent. It was funny. I was in the hotel room yesterday before the game, and I was doing my scorebook because I keep stats to keep myself up to date,
Hmm.
even when I'm not there. And I'm monitoring the game online and doing the stats, and I'm going, man, they've got some good young players this year, and looking forward to seeing them in person come Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to come out to the ballpark and
We will.
catch you a couple times this year, and you know, get through the summer and get another Chiefs season going here in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's 4 months away, boys. So
Yeah, and I guess we'll enjoy our time off, and you don't get any time off, but
no, no,
Exactly.
no.
yeah.
I'm just going to be curious to see how many times I say the Chiefs in the first broadcast with the Indians because it happens every year.
How could it
Welcome back.
not?
The Chiefs coming, the Indians coming to the plate here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to
Uh,
happen. Just mark it down.
well, we'll definitely be listening.
We will.
Okay.
All right, Boiler, we appreciate
Thanks.
it, man.
All
Thank
right,
you.
boys. We will see you come next fall.
Yes, we
Sounds good.
will. Have a good night, buddy.
All right, we'll see you.